So we do have a program this afternoon. It's really important. So the community building is really important. So I'm glad that you all are connecting with each other, talking to each other. Hopefully you're meeting some new people that you can build community with. And in addition to that, we have a program. We have individual political prisoners, individuals who are in the cages, who are incarcerated, who are in solidarity with us in this event. We're going to hear some statements from those individuals shortly. And we also have individuals here who are going to speak to the importance of this work. So we're also going to take a group picture. We want to ask that if you think we're going to do the group picture like in the middle of the program. The reason that we do the group picture in the middle of the program is because we recognize that sometimes people leave a little bit. If you are thinking you might leave, do you mind please waiting until after we do the group picture so we have a record of you being here and the community that came together. It's not going to be super long from now. We're going to hear a couple of statements, then we'll do the group picture, and then we'll hear a few more statements. So we'd love for you to stay for the entirety of this event. And if you do have to leave, we ask if you could please stay at least until we take the group picture, all right? Okay? All right, all right. I have more energy because I didn't get to run. I didn't get to walk. I understand. I know how it is. Last year, this time, I performed after the run, and I was like, nobody's giving me any energy. My song's supposed to get people hype, and everybody's sitting, and I had to recognize that's because these mugs just ran a 5K. So I get it, but the energy, you put it out on the ground, you put it out on the street while you were running around this circle twice. So we love that. We appreciate you, and we're going to move on to hearing our first statement. Lauren? She's coming. All right, so Lauren's gonna read a statement, the first statement from Marius Mason, who is a political prisoner. You're going to hear 4 quick statements. And if you're able to give your attention, please do. Not asking everybody to shut up, but you know, if you probably want to hear these words. This is why we're doing this, right? We're doing this in order to free them all. So to whatever degree you can, please give your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Laura, and I'm reading from Marius Mason, who's a trans man incarcerated right now, part of the Earth Liberation Front, and was charged with some arson in attempts to stop the deforestation. He got 22 years, which I think is the longest that someone in the Earth Liberation Front has gotten for something like this, just for property damage. So from Marius Mason, we are a small community of queer, transgender, and non-binary prisoners here at FMC Fort Worth. And so we recognize the necessity and power in solidarity. As a marginalized faction of an already disenfranchised population, we suffer an added layer of discrimination within the prison system. We can't get certain jobs, or live in certain units, or eat with certain other prisoners. We are often mocked, both by other prisoners and staff, for our orientation or gender. This can be suffocating, but we find our voices in supporting each other. We are glad to walk today with our free sisters, brothers, and siblings to celebrate our connection and to dream together of a future where no one is incarcerated and all are free. To paraphrase the astronaut's famous phrase, one small step for any person, but one giant step for all of us together until all are free. Thank you for your solidarity and support towards an end to cages. That is from Marius Mason, and before we move on to the next statement, I just wanted to say that I was incarcerated with many trans men and trans women, and they were the most demographic sent to the SHU. So if you ever get a chance to do some letter writing, I highly suggest finding trans people to write to, as they are quite possibly most likely in the SHU right now. And also while I was there, I met a lot of sex workers. So we are going to also support our sex working trans, non-binary folks who are incarcerated right now. And we hope that Marius Mason feels all of our love today. And I'm so grateful for his words today.
Thank you. Come on, y'all, give him some more energy. That energy is going to Laura and it's also going to Marius, all right? Next, we're going to have Sharon Schultz. Sharon Schultz, where's Sharon? All right, so Sharon, who is the daughter of Russell Maroon Schultz, who has also been a person who has been a recipient of the War Chest. You know, may he rest in power. And so she's going to speak and read the statement of Oso Blanco.
Oso Blanco, Running Down the Walls 2024. Sisters and brothers and all beings we love and fight for. I, Oso Blanco, thank you so much for coming out this year. I love you all, and I cannot make it without you all as a whole. For one is never bigger than the whole of everyone. We must acknowledge that. Run down these walls. Run them down until they're dust. It has never been worse inside these prisons. We must run down these walls and free all life. We must reach deep down within and hit that internal switch, the switch of power in our sacred heart realm. We must activate the warrior of fire inside of us all. Things on the inside of federal prisons have gotten much worse in the last year. The system is broke and they're nearly starving us much of the time. We are always on the hunt for food, and we are suffering a much higher pattern of violence against prisoners by staff. Things are more serious than ever, and I have close to 30 years in federal prisons. This is my second case that's federal, so I've seen the extreme decline in federal prisons. It's time to really, truly rise up and run down these walls forever. It's time to put in the real and serious work and action. Love, Oso Blanco.
Thank you, Sharon. And, you know, speaking of the, you know, one of the things also talked about is the starvation. And, you know, it's just like, you know, that Sharon is reading that statement, you know, and we were able to bring Maroon home. You know, he was in a bad state health-wise at the point that we were able to bring him home. And the reason that he was able to come home is because they were trying to starve him to death in prison. He could not eat regular, and he had to be fed intravenously because of the progress of his cancer, and they were trying to just give him saline, and then stand around him and watch him wither and die. And so because of that, their willingness to be that inhumane, we were able to have compassionate release granted to him. And so it's just, you know, it's just that effort to starve them in prison, to the increase in violence, that is a real serious situation that we have to, you know, we have to really understand that with, you know, with the pain in our hearts that we feel, but also with the power that we have together and the willingness to not stop this fight, but to fight and win. The next speaker is Ben Passmore. And he's going to read a statement by Toby Schoen.
Peace, peace. Sorry, I'm old. Hold on. Statement for Running Down the Walls 2024 by Anarchist prisoner Toby Schoen. I'll be joining the 5K Running Down the Walls event in September that is organized by our comrades across the Atlantic in the United States. This initiative is another date in the calendar that can help us build a revolutionary narrative that prisoners and those outside can participate in together. It promotes physical training and fitness with the mindset of solidarity and struggle. These kinds of events give us the strength and development. A huge shout out to all those taking part. I write this during the International Week of Solidarity for Anarchist Prisoners in combative memory of the state murders of Sacco and Vanzetti in Boston 1927. P.S. A greeting also to the rebel prisoners in Italy. I heard of the revolts even here in high security. Shout out to them. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And our last statement is going to be read by Crystal Strong. It is a statement of Jesse Cannon. Thank you all for your attention. Please give a hand to Crystal Strong.
Peace, family. Free them all. This is from Jesse Cannon, Tall Can. Running is a form of meditation for me. While trying to nail a 9-minute mile, I found myself at peace, watching the gravel track under my feet like the surroundings of a locomotive. I reminisce of watching friends train for peace and dignity run and run for salmon. Long distance running is an indigenous tradition. I run with you today and every day in solidarity with all political prisoners and prisoners of war. I stand with all and with indigenous people everywhere fighting for their ancestral sites and rights and land back. Right? Today I pray to Creator, I will be joining you all next time in person to run alongside y'all. Keep up the fight, break down borders, push and run down the walls. Stay up and stay dangerous. In struggle, in solidarity, Tall Can. Free them all.
Okay, now, you know, this is what these statements speak to is the solidarity that we have. We're on the outside, we're running for them who are on the inside, they who are on the inside for us. And so we're going to just shout out, Gabe is going to come and just shout out a few of the other prisoners who are here with us, who are participating with us.
Free them all. 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 So we want to shout out the rest of these names as well. We want to shout out Toby Schoen and other prisoners at HMP Garth in the UK. Toby Schoen. Free them all. Toby Schoen. We want to shout out Marius Mason and other prisoners in FMC Fort Worth. Marius Mason. We want to shout out Jerome Coffey at SCI Pine Grove. Shout out Hoagie. Free them all. And so then we want to bring in our next lineup of speakers. I'm going to pass it over to Yane to finalize our speakers, correct?
So what we're going to do next is we're going to do the group photo. Remember we talked about that group photo? So every year, you know, there's some of us are in many of these photos. And then there's new faces in different of the photos. And so it's a moment, it's an ability for us to capture this moment in history, which is about community. It's about us being willing to step forward and represent the importance of this work and the value that we have for our revolutionaries who have been captured and who are suffering behind the walls for us, because they believe in our freedom. And so we're going to go. Are we taking a picture over there? So we're going to go over here on this hill, and we're going to take the picture, and then we're going to come back and we're going to hear some speeches. So I just want to let you know who you're going to hear from to encourage you to come back after we take the picture. So after we take this picture, we're going to hear from Samadon. Are they here?
Right here.
Oh, right here. All right. And then we're also going to hear from TJ. Where's TJ go? I don't know where TJ went, but he's not. Oh, okay. Ahore, you gonna speak? Yep. So right here, former political prisoner. All right, revolutionary. Ojiri. Indigo.
Comrade Indigo.
From Prayers for Palestine is also going to speak. So we want to come back so we can hear their words. But right now we're going to go and we're going to take this picture. So please make your way over there to the hill, and we're going to get ourselves organized, and we're going to get a couple pictures taken. We are going to be getting more water. So just want to let you know that the water that we may have run out of water, but more water is coming. And also there's a water fountain over there. If you need some water, there's a water fountain over there in the office. Oh, and there's water at Food Not Bombs over there. So, please make sure you're hydrated. Get some water, y'all. Please hydrate. Get some water. We have more water running down the walls. Brought some more water. There's water over there with Food Not Bombs. Get some water. Get your nutrients in. There's electrolytes. There's still electrolytes. Electrolytes over here. It's hot. Hydrate. Make sure you're well hydrated. Look at the people around you. Make sure everybody's looking good. Make sure nobody's looking like they're kind of starting to look a little like they need a little help. Somebody may be sitting and maybe they can't make it over to the water. Like, just check them out. How their eyes looking? What's their energy looking like? We're here to take care of each other. We're gonna move on to speakers. Before we do, want to make sure if there are people here who didn't have a chance to register ahead of time but have come out and want to get a shirt, if you don't already have a shirt, please come on over to the table and see what shirts we have left. You can come and purchase a shirt still. And there are also 2 other designs. So if you're interested, you got to look so you can see what they look like. There are a couple of other designs that you can also purchase. Other designs.
2 other designs.
2 other designs.
Oh,
so these are the other designs that are available for purchase. So check them out. So if you didn't get the main shirt, you can still possibly get one. And you can also, even if you did, come and get one of these other 2 designs. Don't forget, there's water over here. There's water over here. There is toilet paper in the porta potties. We've got electrolytes. We've got fruit and muffins. There's water fountains. There's an ADA accessible bathroom over there. We are good to go. All right, how y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? Y'all feeling all right? So we're gonna move on into our next speaker. Samadun, you ready? All right, y'all, come on, give your energy. Give some energy to Samadun.
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Hi everyone, I'm Abu Ali. I'm here with the Samadun Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network. We're an international organization with chapters all over the world, and we fight to get the words of Palestinian political prisoners outside of the prison walls. We fight to get them released. We fight to make sure that they're not forgotten about. That's what I want to talk about today, specifically that. Not forgetting about the prisoners. I'm really glad to be here today. This is an amazing event. It's important for us to do these kind of things, not just as social events, not just as like a one-time thing where you think about them for a bit and then you go home and you go on with the rest of your life. This needs to be something that's in your head, on your mind, every day. I was talking to a comrade recently, And we were talking about the prisoners and the prison conditions. And we were talking about the kind of torture that Palestinian political prisoners face. And she just started crying. And she's like, we need to do more. Every day we need to be doing more. We need to be doing more every day. And it's hard because we're not that many people, right? And we burn out and we get sick and everything happens to us, right? And we get a lot of repression, and that's tough too. But we're happy, right? Because we're standing in solidarity with them and we're getting to a position closer to them. We're being repressed the same way they are. We have people who, because of their advocacy for Palestinian political prisoners, their visa status has been downgraded. We have our European coordinator, Mohammed Khatib. The European Union is trying to get him deported. The European Union is trying to get his citizenship stripped and have him deported. Our German coordinator, Zaid Abdel Nasser, the same thing. They got his visa status downgraded, so now he can't work. He can't apply for a job. He's in the country basically based on this loophole where they can't deport him because they don't believe in Palestine. So they don't have anywhere to deport him to. So, you know, we get these little blessings too, and so do the prisoners, and the prisoners talk about it. There's a great documentary on the resistance where the members of the resistance talk about all the little breaks they get. There's resistance members who were underground in the tunnels, and they had to survive for 17 days. And what they did was they had a stash of dates, and they would have one date per person. They'd have half of one in the morning and half of one in the afternoon. Eventually, they ran out of water. And then suddenly, subhanAllah, you know, for all of us that are religious, yani, this is the kind of thing to really think about. Water started trickling in through the tunnels, you know? And they're very carefully designed, these tunnels, right? This kind of thing doesn't really happen. And they happen to have a little piece of sponge, and they filtered out the water. You know, this is what our people are like. This is their resilience. And you don't see that resilience anymore than underground in the tunnels and out there in the prisons. The prisoners, they are on the front lines against the Israelis every single day.
That's right.
There's a great text called Falsafat al-Muwajah min Waraq al-Ban. It's the philosophy of confrontation from behind the prisons. And it talks about how the prisoner, it's almost like a different form of guerrilla warfare. You can't confront the prison guards every day. You have to be careful with it. You have to be quiet about it. These days, in every prison in the world, especially here in the US, they catch a whiff of prison organizing, your life's going to be hell. It's much harder if you try to do political work in prison. That's why I'm amazed at these statements that we're hearing. You know, that these things are getting smuggled out of prison. We have that in spades in Palestine. There is the recent martyr Walid Dakha, a longtime political prisoner. He had a child while he was in prison. They smuggled out his sperm, and his wife got artificially inseminated through that and had a daughter. And that daughter, Milad, is amazing. We had her, the wife and the daughter, speak at an encampment that we were at in Germany. They were so full of revolutionary optimism. Her father had just passed away. She's never seen him. She was conceived while he was in prison. You know, and that's how we keep the struggle alive. And we need to be doing little things like that every day. We need to be doing our equivalent of that. We need to be planting seeds. We need to be talking to people every day about the prisoners, educating ourselves. There's a lot of times when people come over and they're like, how do I get involved? You know, should I do this? Should I do that? Whatever it is you're already doing, just do that about prisoners.
That's right.
You write about prisoners. You're read prisoners. Like, it's not that hard. You know, we tend to overcomplicate it. These people are there because they want to shut them out from us. Every time we think about them, every time we talk to them, talk about them, every time we read their writing, we make that harder for the state. Every single time you do that, you are tangibly building up a movement that will eventually free them. So we need more people doing that. Don't think that it's some small thing. If you want to host a letter writing, reach out to us. We'll help you with that. You know, don't think it's a small thing if you do it with 5 of your friends. If you do it in your house, it's fine. Everything starts small. You know, we look at the resistance and we see the amazing things they're doing, but everything they have, it started small. It started from these small daily acts of resistance, and then they realize we need this to be more organized. We need this to be more structured. We need tunnels. Think about the kind of thought that goes into building something like a tunnel system. They got hundreds of kilometers of tunnels under Palestine, and they use that to keep away the Israelis, to fight the Zionists, to protect their people. Think about how grueling it is to build a tunnel, right? How exhausting that is. That is not glamorous political work, right? Laying down bricks and mortars, digging tunnels. I have a friend who's in Egypt right now who talked to one of the people who had worked on the tunnels, and he talked about how grueling this was, you know, and how happy he was to do it because he believed in the resistance. He believed in the leadership of the resistance. He believed in people like Yahya Sinwar, who they led from within the prison and organized a prison exchange that got them released. You know, these are the people we look up to, and these are the people we need to keep reading. Read his novel, Thorns and Carnations. You got to look to the resistance. Everything being put out by the resistance is shut out to English language audiences. Resistance News Network, one of the best sources for following the resistance, is being shut out of Europe. On Telegram, which is the only place that they're active, they're being banned on there. They are trying to get us from every angle to not think about these people, to not talk about these people. Spread it among your friends. You know, use a VPN, get the Telegram post, send it to your friends on Signal. All this stuff matters. These little things are not so little when they add up. And so I don't want to keep you for too long, but I just wanted to talk about that specifically, right? That we got to take this stuff into our life every single day. Politics is not just every 4 years. Voting doesn't matter, obviously, but most of us know that. But it's not every 2 years. It's not every year. It's every day. It's every minute. It's everything you're thinking about. Why are you thinking about this and not that? Why are you distracted in some bullshit? Focus on this work. Focus on those people. Think about them like they're your brother or your sister. What would you do if they came to your house and kidnapped your brother or your sister? So I'm going to leave you with a quote from the revolutionary prisoner Ahmed Saadat, who's in prison for being the Secretary General of the PFLP. Political prisoners are jailed because they fear our actions, they fear our ideas, they fear our power to mobilize people in a revolutionary way against their exploitation and colonization. They fear our communication, and they fear the powers of our people. They fear that if we come together, that we will build an international front for the liberation of oppressed peoples. They know and deeply fear that we can truly build an alternative world. For them, this is the terror of defeat. But for us and for our peoples, this is the hope of freedom and the promise of victory. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for those words of encouragement, for that reminder. A lot of times we think like we're not able to do enough, and it makes us feel like we almost feel like crippled to do anything. So thank you for reminding us that there are always things that we can do. And speaking to the issue of political prisoners, we have Ojari here. He's not going to speak, but we do want to acknowledge him. He is a freedom fighter. He is a revolutionary. He has spent time. He is a former political prisoner, and he also has some of his artwork up here. And he brought it here so that you can be able to see his vision and his communication and how he uses art and how he uses visuals in order to communicate messages. So please take a moment to just look at the collages that he's put up that are around this tent, around the outside of this tent. So please take a minute to check that out before you go. And thank you, Ojari, for your service, for your commitment to revolution. Also, I want to mention that we talked about Maroon earlier. Maroon's autobiography is out. So a lot of people have been very interested in, like, you know, if you know his history, one of the things you know that the reason that they call him Maroon is because he was able to escape prison more than once. So he talks about his education, he talks about his history, he talks about how he became politicized, he talks about the things that people want to know, how you do that. So, you know, I haven't read the whole book, but I can tell you it's a very compelling read. You know, I've read some of it. It's a compelling read, and you know, it reads like an adventure novel. And it's inspiring. So, you know, make sure you recognize that. Where's Indigo? Yep. So while Indigo's coming up, I want to mention that we have an event on September 22nd that's going to be happening at One Art. So it's every year we do a memorial brunch in honor of Maroon and Maroon's legacy. It's a bunch of food that is delicious, and it is all free. There's information, there's community, there's entertainment, and this year it will be the Philadelphia launch of Maroon's autobiography. So please come out. That's next week, the 22nd, at One Art from 12 to 4. And we're going to hear from one of the other Indigos, my baby Indigo from Queers for Palestine.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm not going to take up too much of y'all time, but I did have a little, something prepared. So in honor of Running Down the Walls, which I will say this is my first time being able to participate. Yes. So I'm very, very excited. I'm very thankful and appreciative of everyone who's come out, everyone who's put in labor to making this be such a fruitful event for so many years. And this is just a legacy that we're continuing to build off of. So today we stand at a crossroads where multiple pivotal struggles intersect. Our fight for queer liberation, our commitment to the abolition of the carceral state, both are deeply intertwined with our fight for land and for freedom, Black, Indigenous, and Palestinian alike. We at Queers for Palestine understand that our struggle for queer liberation is not just about affirming identities, but about dismantling systems that seek to control and oppress. Similarly, the prison abolition movement challenges the very foundation of a system that criminalizes and dehumanizes Black and Indigenous liberation and communities. And our struggle for Palestinian self-determination reflects a broader resistance against occupation and empire. We know that this fight is noble and that it must grow. So today we are here to unite our various visions of a world where no one is disposable and no one is occupied and no one is left in bondage. Just as we work to free individuals from the confines of prisons, the prison industrial complex, and state surveillance, we strive to end the occupation of Palestine and of all occupied lands and of all Black and Indigenous livelihoods, taking leadership particularly from queer and trans Palestinians who are disproportionately preyed upon by the illegitimate Israeli settler colonial legal system. The liberation of one is intrinsically linked to the liberation of all, and we are all sweaty now to prove that that is true. Our solidarity must be a shield, a sword, and a beacon, protecting those under siege and guiding us towards a future where all of these systems have been set ablaze. We are here to build a world where liberation is universal, where every individual is free, and where no one is suffering in the chains of oppression. Queers for Palestine is currently supporting a comrade who is sheltering in Deir el-Bala, which is central Gaza. His family's been displaced about 4 times since October 7th from their home, and recently his brother was critically injured in a Zionist massacre in Al-Malwasi refugee camp. Marcel and his family alike are one of millions of Palestinians who have been moved around from place to place, told that this place is a safe space and that this place is zoned for safekeeping and refuge for those who have been displaced since this genocide began 70-something years ago, and now twofold post-October 7th. So Queers for Palestine, we've just been organizing small raffles and small events to generate some material support for Marcel. He's supporting not just his family, but he also is supporting his community. He uses, does weekly lessons with the children in the refugee tent camp that he lives with, and he does like music therapy with the children. So I have some like flyers with QR codes if anybody is wanting and willing to donate directly to Marcel's GoFundMe. We're also going to have some, for any West Philly folks, we're having like a little family-friendly, oriented movie night series, playing some Halloween movie nights. Anybody love Twitches? Yes, we'll be playing Twitches next Friday night. Catch us there. And we also have a raffle that should be dropping sometime soon. So, did you want to speak more? Bino will talk to y'all more about the raffle. Thank you.
So yeah, the art raffle should be dropping sometime in the next week. Shout out to all like local Philly artists, chefs, caregivers who are volunteering their talent, their time, their labor. We encourage anyone, it'll be on the Queers for Palestine Instagram. There's like lots of different prizes, from art prints to homemade kimchi to plant care. There's everything. We also, the most exciting prize to me is a free tattoo session with Mona in Fishtown. We know and love her. But while I'm up here, I also want to shout out, do you want this one second? There's a political prisoner who I'm very close sisters with made this art piece for today. And I want to show y'all, she's a trans woman who's at New Jersey State Prison right now. She's been incarcerated for 30 plus years. Her name is Gia Abigail Valentina. And I can't help but think, when I think of the Zionist army and their tendency to tell people to go to, quote, safe zones only to bomb them, I think about how Gia is kept in an all-male facility under, quote unquote, protective custody, which is a euphemism for solitary confinement. She is kept in a windowless room for 23 and a half hours a day. And that is their idea of keeping this woman safe, in the dungeon, in the basement of an all-male prison. And I want to read a poem that she wrote recently, that she sent to me, but she wanted it disseminated to people in the world who are fighting for the Pride Revolution, as she calls it. Sorry, I'm pulling it up real quick. As I sit here cringing on the eve of revolution, I await for the first sign of this endless battle in the young night of my revolutionary mind. Preparing for the distillery of brokenness, I fill my jars of strategy with history learned. Not everyone will tend the wounds of change. Some will be cast away into the war machine, submit and become traitors, the worst kind of enemies. Because emotions have been grafted onto our life as if to be bandages that absorb the wounds of our uneasy revolutionary movement that will never go away. And so I say to you, listeners of the echoes of history, they will only absorb you if you are a guerrilla. Thank you. Free Gia, free them all!
Y'all remember when we used to constantly chant, free in? Y'all remember? Free in, free in. We can still say that, but it means something a little different. Now, instead of being a verb, saying it's something that we have to do, is an adjective describing our free in, free in, free in, free in, free in. And there he is right there. And we will also be celebrating Ant and him being home on September 22nd. So September 22nd and One Art is about to be lit like in Philly. For those who know, if you know, you know. So we're close to wrapping up. We do have, someone else we want to allow to speak. We also want to shout out again the prisoners who have participated today. So we want to shout out Marius Mason. Woo! And we want to shout out also Blanco. Woo! And we want to shout out Toby Sean. Woo! And Jesse Talkin Cannon. Woo! And please, y'all, I really hope to see all of your faces. Bring other people on the 22nd at Maroon's Memorial Brunch, where we will also you'll be able to get a copy of the book, and you'll hear readings from the book, I think. And you'll be also celebrating Ant coming home. And I'm going to be shooting like a little bit for my music video for Philly Work. So if you haven't been able to be in that video yet, then that'll be happening as well. And now, I just want to mention, sometimes people question or they feel like, why do we talk, sometimes there's a question about how much we talk about Palestine. And particularly some people feel, and I get it and I understand, that there's not enough conversation about certain other fights that are really, really important fights. Of course, there's the fight that's going on in Haiti, and now they're sending multiple countries to fight against the revolutionary activities in Haiti. And there's a lot of conversation that's not happening about what's going on in Sudan and what's going on in the Congo, and even the revolutionary activities that are happening in the Sahel, what's going on in Kenya, the revolutionary activities happening in Nigeria. So it's understandable why people are getting upset, and we need to not be confused about the solidarity, about the fact that yes, we need to elevate all of the fights, and we shouldn't, if there's an issue, we don't need to silence our conversation about what's going on in Palestine. We need to elevate what's our understanding of what's going on in these other places around the world. And so, you know, the one thing about what's happening in Palestine that's a little bit exceptional is how blatant it is. And what they're doing, if they will drop those bombs in that way with so many millions of people in the streets, and they get to win, if they win in this genocidal effort, then they will there will be no hesitation. They will feel no fear when it comes to dropping those same bombs in the AES to stop the revolutionary activity that's happening there, to stop the revolutionary activity that's happening in Kenya, to stop the revolutionary activity that's happening in Haiti. So, you know, wherever it is that you know there is injustice happening that matters to you, it's all intertwined. And anytime we can step up and stand up to fight for what is right and what is just, we need to do it every single time. And in the spirit of solidarity, I want to invite, tell me your name again. I want to invite Matt to come up here and talk to you about what he is doing or what the people he's working with is doing. And you may want to get a flyer because it is relevant and there is a strong connection, as you'll be able to see. So here, do you want to take the mic?
Right on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yannick. What's up, everybody? I really appreciate you guys giving me the chance to speak here. My name's Matt. By show of hands, who here knows what a company called Aramark is? There we go. That's an informed crowd. I don't have to do a lot of work here.
Tell them.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Aramark is one of the largest food service companies in the world. They're bigger than like Burger King, McDonald's combined, all that. They're headquartered right here in Philly. They made $18 billion last year. They're in prisons. They're in schools. They've been caught repeatedly giving like maggot-infested and otherwise spoiled food to prisoners. They're horrible. They're like a god-awful company. Well, they're also in the stadiums right over here. They do all the food at Wells Fargo Center, Lincoln Financial Field, Citizens Bank Park, and they pay people there nothing. They're paying people at Wells Fargo Center $14.11 an hour. That's people with kids, people who've been working there for decades sometimes. And so the workers there just voted to authorize a strike at all three stadiums. And tonight we're having a strike fund party to raise money for the strike fund. It's going to be at Bob and Barbara's over on South Street. You guys know where that is, right? So it's right south and 15th Street, 6 to 8 p.m. Okay, we're going to be raising money because the more money we have in the strike fund, the longer we can keep this fight going, and the easier it's going to be to crush this company that needs to be crushed. You know, like you were just saying, these fights are all connected. People say that all the time, but it's really, really true. And this is a case where you can really see it's like very close up, very material. It's the same company that's a pillar of the prison industrial complex, is gouging workers, keeping workers in poverty right here in Philly, right at these stadiums, and we have a chance to give them a big black eye, okay? So if you can't make it, I got these flyers that have a link to donate to the strike fund. If you can give 20, 25, 50, if you're secretly rich, $1,000. And if you can make it, it's going to be Bob and Barbara's tonight, 6 to 8 p.m. Oh, and we're going to have a raffle. We got Wooden Shoe Books donated stuff. We got local artists, local musicians, free tickets to Johnny Brenda's, all kinds of stuff. It's going to be great. And then it's karaoke, so come through. Love to see you. Thanks again to the comrades for letting me speak. And free them all.
Free them all! All right, y'all, so listen. We have finished the program. Illy, anything else? We have finished the program, so I want to encourage people while you're still here to make sure that you get to know somebody that you didn't already know. We're here to build community, always. It's always revolution time. What time is it? It's revolution time. What time is it? Revolution time. What time is it? Revolution time. It's time for the revolution. Always. Always. So, get to know somebody else. And also, I mean, you know, my daughter would be so upset to see me walking around here with no shoes on my feet. But, you know, grounding is really important. So for people who are sitting on the ground, great that you're giving that great example that the earth is not something to be afraid of. It's something that the earth wants to hold us. The earth wants to love us. The earth wants to absorb the negativity out of our bodies so that we can live to fight another day. So if you have the heart, sit your booty on the ground for a second. Put your feet on the ground for a second if you have the heart. No judgment if you can't do it. But we're here in the park and we're here being healthy. So let's take some moves to be healthy and build community. Say hi to somebody new. And I love y'all. We did it. Woo! Free them all. Free them all. Free them all. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Congo. Free Congo. Free Congo. Free Congo. Hands up Haiti. Hands up Haiti. Hands up Haiti. Hands up Haiti. Eyes on Sudan. Eyes on Sudan. Eyes on Sudan. Eyes on Sudan. Look at what's going on in the AES. Look at what's going on in the Sahel in West Africa. Look at what's going on in Kenya. They're telling their leaders that there's no more of the injustice, no more of the corruption. Look at what's going on in Nigeria. Look at what's happening. They're trying to overthrow the election in Venezuela. They are constantly trying to overthrow freedom, but we are not going to let them. We are here in the belly of the beast. It is our job to do our part here so that people are not suffering there with our resources. So let's learn. We got to study, we got to train. It's not Black August anymore, but it's always Black August. It's always time to train. It's always time to study. It's always time to deepen our understanding and our knowledge of what's going on so that we can educate other people and so that we know the right decisions to make. So keep it going forever. It's always time for the revolution. Peace, love y'all. We need some music. Can we get some music?